Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 358 of the Auto Detailing Podcast, and it's SEMA week. Can't believe SEMA's already here again. I'm actually still reeling from Mobile Tech Expo, which if you can't make it out to SEMA because you're more on the East Coast, I would strongly suggest making it out to Mobile Tech Expo in Orlando. Now, they are creating an MTE on the West Coast in Vegas. I'm not sure when that is. I think 2019 is the first year they're doing that, which I definitely think I'm going to try to make as well. But it's a little bit less expensive to go to MTE. Definitely a lot smaller of a show. And the secret to MTE is everyone pretty much stays at the same hotel, and there's nowhere to go in Florida. So everyone just hangs out at the hotel. But that's our little secret for MTE. This is SEMA week. SEMA starts tomorrow if you're listening to this on the day that the episode releases. Let me not get ahead of myself here. And so what I wanted to do, and in fact, this is kind of fun, I created this list after let's see if I could find a date on this. It's in my Evernote. It's 2014. Oh, there we go. Okay. I actually created it in August of 16 as I was gearing up for SEMA 2016. I went to SEMA 2014, didn't go 15, went 16, 17, and 18. I think that's correct. Maybe I didn't go 14 and went 15. At any rate, I wrote this list, and you probably saw the title. It's 10 tips for a successful SEMA show. Now, there's a lot of hype and a lot of talk that happens around SEMA show, how big the show is, how overwhelming it is, and it definitely can be, but I wanted to release these 10 tips that people could flash back to, flash forward to, whatever, listen to, maybe you're on your way into SEMA right now, you're flying there, you're driving there, however you're getting there, and you want some tips on how to have a successful show or see the most things possible. Hopefully these 10 tips will help out with you. So the first one is, and they're really in no order, just kind of scatterbrained. This is a list that I compiled after my first year at SEMA that I kind of gleaned from and was like, okay, I think, usually your first year places are extremely overwhelming, and then you kind of get a lay of the land, and then you can kind of go from there. So this is a list that I made kind of more personally, but I thought, you know what, if I ever want to do a podcast about this, or actually what I was going to do is create this list and then put it out to collect email addresses to market to later, and I never did. So now it's becoming a podcast episode. So in totally random order, the first one is connect with the SEMA Facebook page and get on their email list. Now, one thing the SEMA, Apex, whoever owns that convention is really good at is bombarding you with emails. Now, if you're into that, what they do with the emails is they tell you what's going on. So kind of the highlights, the highlight reel are going to come through on both their email list and their Facebook page. And it's a lot easier to start narrowing down what's going on, what's hot, what you might want to see, the booths that you may want to stop by. Kind of the highlight reel of the show is going to come through on their Facebook page and their email list. They're also going to let you know of upcoming events, speakers, guest appearances, and the booths that they're going to be at, and all that fun stuff. So it's a good way initially to take an overwhelming event like that and narrow down some very, very specific things. So that's number one. Number two is connect pre-show with vendors and other people you know or want to meet who will be attending the show. So for me personally, I was contacted, and this is cool, but I also contacted, especially the first few years that I was going to the show, because they plan for stuff like this, I was and am dealing with the PR companies of brands that want me to come in and interview someone in their company during the show. So Maguires, 3M, Buff and Shine, Auto Fiber, all these companies have started to plan their time at the booths, and they want to get as much press as possible. They want to get as many hands shook, as many people they can meet, as many people as possible coming by their booth, because crowds breed crowds as possible. So there's already been schedules being set and stuff like that. But if you start connecting with vendors, even now, even the day before or during the show, if you start connecting with vendors, learning where their booth is, and kind of even to the point where you may map it out a little bit in your calendar, or have a rough sketch of where you want to be and where you want to go at what times, really, really helps kind of feel like you're in control of the event, like you're in control of your time there. And then if you can, the third thing would be to get there a day before the doors open. And I didn't do this, but definitely if it's your first time at SEMA, hopefully you can. It's just so massive and so big, and there's so much walking to do, and you could be at one place. I remember like the first thing that kind of struck my mind was the Maguires booth is not in the North Hall of where all the other car care brands are, which I wouldn't have thought that. I still don't know why it's like that. But the Maguires main booth that you always see across their whole social media that people post pictures on is really kind of out on an island in and of its own. Now, I'm sure Maguires has this very strategically placed for a reason, and it could be because they don't have to compete with all the other car care brands out there, which is actually maybe kind of smart. But their booth is not with everyone else in the detailing space. So in fact, it's probably a 5 to 10 minute walk, depending on how bad the crowd is, from, say, the Maguires booth, or even the Mother's booth isn't where all the other detailing companies are either. And so to get from one of those booths to the actual where everyone else is a bit of a walk. So there's little stuff like that. If you're picking up your badge at the SEMA show, where you have to pick up your badge and then where the North Hall is, are two completely opposite ends of the show. I mean, they couldn't get them any further apart, and the North Hall is where all the detailing related stuff is, the stuff that you would probably most be interested in listening to this. So, and this ties right back into number 4, and that's get the SEMA Show app. So you can use this app and just go into any app store and search SEMA Show. And by having this app, it's going to help you pinpoint where you are during the show, and then a whole map with a vendor list and event list of stuff to do. So it really can become a really, really, really good resource for you. If you're lost, if you can't find someone, because another thing what happened last year, where they put the new vendor showcase, I guess they call it, it's like way out in the boonies. So Adams, Auto Fiber, I don't know if the rag company was out there, but like out in this random tent, like behind the building, and like not the worst spot possible, but like the second worst spot possible you could ever put vendors. That's where they were, because you had to walk all the way to this far place to actually find the people, the tent that these additional vendors were in. It was kind of weird. So if you don't have a map, or you don't have this app, which I hate paper, so I much prefer an app, it makes it a lot easier. So that too. If you cannot, so number 3 was to get there the day before. If you can't do that, number 5, so we're halfway through the list, is to get there early. Now, on my list, I said get there early on the first day of the show, but the bonus is to do this every day. And here's why. SEMA brings in people from around the world. SEMA is also in Las Vegas, nicknamed Sin City, right? So when people come to Vegas that don't normally let loose, or are from a different state or a different country or whatever, and they come to this place titled Sin City, they tend to let loose and let their inhibitions fly, right? They drink too much. They get wrapped up in other stuff. It makes for a long night. There's dinners. There's constantly something to do. And there's no clocks in Vegas. So if you tame yourself a little bit and really want to get the most out of the show, go early. Get up early or don't go to sleep. But people are hungover. They're still drunk. They're still at the table gambling. And the busiest part of the show, where the biggest crowds are, start to happen right around lunchtime. So one thing I like to do, and Kevin Davis, who's been on the show quite a bit, and we've done an interview from SEMA and actually are planning on doing another interview at SEMA this year. I know he gets there super early, 6, 7 o'clock. Now, sometimes you can get there before the show even starts and the doors are open, and as long as you're kind of wearing your badge, you can mosey around pretty much wherever you want. There might not be people manning the booth, but there won't be the wall-to-wall or aisle-to-aisle crowds like there are around lunchtime and throughout the rest of the day. So that's a big, big bonus, is to try to get there as early as you possibly can. That way you can really, if there's machines you want to try or products you want to try or people you want to talk to, the reps working the booth have to be there when the show opens, right? So they're there at 8 or 9 o'clock, regardless of how drunk or hungover they are or how much they partied the night before. So you might be able to squeeze in some extra conversation time by just getting there a tad bit earlier than everyone else that's been hungover from the night before. Number 6 is study your map hard. Study that map, know where everyone's at, and really just nail down kind of the lay of the land so that you're not, one thing I did was I thought I was going to take a shortcut, so I actually went outside the convention center and tried to go around the back to make it back to the North Hall because I didn't have a map on me. I didn't pull up the app, none of that. And I ended up taking about a 30-minute detour. It felt like I was just totally lost and totally discombobulated with where I was at. So I definitely study your map, have that map handy, and do that. So number 7, before we get into number 7, let me take a sip of coffee here. One thing I'll have a lot of, this could be a bonus tip, is hydration and fluids. And one thing I am doing and trying to be prepped on is actually bringing my own water bottle. This could be like 6A or a bonus. I'm bringing my own hydro flask with me that I'll refill with water throughout the day. And in fact, I just thought about another one. This will be a bonus tip. Hydration tabs. I've had a daily detailed tip about this before. Those hydration tabs will really save your butt in a pinch. Because it's like drinking more bottles of water. But stay hydrated, especially if you're a detailer used to being out in the sun and used to working outside. I don't know what it is for me personally, but as soon as I get under those lights in the convention center and I'm indoors most of the day, it zaps me of my energy and hydration. And so I'm actually trying to take extra precaution and just bring an extra water bottle with me. And really, really stay hydrated. Of course, they sell water there, but at $5 per, 20-ounce bottle of water, that can add up super quick. And I'm sure there's water fountains and stuff like that. But so number 7, this is another important one too. So what I would do if I were you, especially if you're on a plane right now or a train or an automobile going into the SEMA show, or you happen to get in the night before or whatever, or you could even do this the night before because you don't have to be there to get the app, right, and to see the map. So what I would do is when you're done studying your map and you kind of got a good idea, a good feel for how the show flows, select which parts of the show you want to see the most and the parts that you want to spend the most time in. And I would kind of make notes of those. Okay, I want to go see Auto Fiber because Jimbo's going to be over there. Duh. So I'm going to spend some time over there, and then I want to go see Maguires. I heard Jimbo say that it was kind of out of the North Hall, so I want to go over there, spend some time over there, and I want to go to Rupes and see if there's any new Rupes. I want to go over here. Whatever you want to see the most, kind of map that out and create a game plan of where you want to go, who you want to see. Maybe there's, I want to go see Mike Phillips. I want to see Jason Rose. I want to see Ian at Auto Fiber. I want to see I'm sure I'm losing all these people's names, but maybe there's certain people you want to see. I want to see the chemical guy's booth. I want to see this booth, that booth, this, blah, 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 blah. Adam's booth. Oh, Adam Patali's probably going to be there. So kind of start making a list, and this could be obviously in your head, but what I would do, maybe there's suspension and interior stuff that you want to see. I mean, the good thing about SEMA Show is it has everything and anything that has to do with a car is there. So maybe there's a part for your build that you're trying to find. Maybe there's new tires that you want to find. Maybe there's new rims, whatever, all that, whatever you want to see, list it out. And the reason you want to do this is because you get there and it's so incredibly overwhelming that if you're like me in any regard, your mind goes blank and you forget everything. And then you leave and then you go, shoot, I wanted to do this, and this. And I did none of that because I got talking to Jimbo for an hour outside the Jay Leno's garage booth or whatever. I'm telling you, stuff like that happens where you end up sucking hours because you get so overwhelmed and don't remember what to do. So after you've studied the map, you've kind of pinpointed where you want to be at, you've pinpointed and highlighted some things that you really, really, really want to see. What I would do, and this comes in at number 8, is take your first half day. So the first day you land there, like take the first 4 or 5 hours and briskly walk through the entire show and outside. So not only will this help you get a feel for everything even more, because reading a map is one thing and actually seeing it in person is a whole nother thing. The reason why I added this to the list is for this reason. Everyone that, I hate saying that, most people I had talked to that had either gone to SEMA Show, been to the SEMA Show before, said, man, the show was so big I didn't even walk through the whole thing. And I thought, man, that's kind of a bummer. Like you're at the show and you got stuck. Like you didn't even walk through the whole thing. So what I would do is, because it's so easy to get stuck and to not see everything, I would take the first 4 or 5 hours of the very first day and just walk through the whole show. Just briskly walk through, and this will also help take mental notes of the different halls and what's in the different halls, along with the map and the app. Ooh, the map and the app? That's kind of cool. Will help you kind of gauge. Maybe you want to look at toolboxes, new tools, new spark plugs, new sandpaper, new tape. I mean, literally, it has everything, right? So new gauges, new buttons, new whatever. But briskly walking through the show, you may see things that you didn't really think of when you were back home in Minnesota or in California or whatever. So walking through the show with map and app in hand, oh, that's brutal. You can take notes and then, I want to come back over there and check out those Jeep hardtops, or I want to come check out these instrument clusters or whatever. So walking through the show will help you with that. So and then also you can come back and say a lot of things that you can say something that a lot of people can't say, and that's that you walk the whole entire show, which is cool. It's like, well, I didn't see half the stuff, but I still walked it. I wanted to see the Ford booth. I remember walking through and just seeing the Ford Motor Company booth, and it's just insanity how awesome that booth is. Number 9, bring a camera. Your cell phone will do, but there's a ton of people here at SEMA Show that you've only seen on YouTube or traditional TV, right? And so this is your opportunity. Take a selfie with them. Take a little video. That's what I love GoPros for, because they're so little that you can just throw it in your pocket. You could put it on a tripod. Everyone films themselves nowadays, or has a blog, or has a YouTube channel or whatever, so you won't feel awkward if you're carrying a camera around at all, especially if you have a big, shotgun mic on the top. So definitely, even if it's just your phone, I would recommend maybe a GoPro or something little to tag along. But there's people here that maybe are from different countries, and you've only seen them on YouTube, or you follow them on YouTube, and then to see them in person, it's really, really cool, right? And it may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. There's a lot of autograph signings. There's a lot of guest appearances. There's just a lot of people there that are really, really cool people. You may see them at a specific booth. the beauty about SEMA is you may just see them cruising through the halls. Cruising through the aisleways. You never know. So you want to definitely have something on hand that you can kind of capture that moment. Number 10. And there's actually going to be a few bonus tips. It's just 10 seemed like a nice round number for a title. So number 10 is to network when you're at these booths. And this is why it's so important to be as efficient as possible with kind of tagging the booths that you really want to see, because each night of the show, there are receptions hosted by various committees, councils, companies. There's dinners, there's events, there's outings. Tuesday night, if you're looking for one, there's a Pints and Polishing podcast at Gordon Bierce Brewery. There's free beer from 8 to 10. Wednesday night is Rennie Doyle's Cigars event. I think there's also a Ceramic Pro event that night. There's a slew of other events, and really the only way to find out about them, unless you're, installer. There's a glass parency party on Thursday night somewhere. I know there's a Ceramic Pro training the day before SEMA even starts. And so you really want to not only thrust yourself into the SEMA show, but there's tons of opportunities outside the show. And that's actually one of the main reasons why I go, is you can walk the North Hall of the detailing section in a matter of a couple hours. It's really not big. I remember being really unimpressed with how small the actual auto detailing section of the show was in comparison to everything. And to be honest, it'll get kind of boring just hanging out in the detailing section. But what's awesome is when you can meet up with these companies, these reps, these brands outside of the show for drinks, for cigars, for beers, for dinner, for breakfast, for lunch, for whatever. It's really a great opportunity, unlike any other time of the year, that you can meet with this many people at a show. Bonus tip, there's also expenses, company expenses. So a lot of times you can get your drink, your meal, your cigar, your whatever paid for if you're in with these companies, because reps have company credit cards, and that's a good place to be. So that's a little bonus one. So another bonus, or number 11, would be, one of the best kept secrets of SEMA show are the educational seminars. So similar to what the IDA does at MTE, or Mobile Tech Expo, the SEMA show in general has dozens of business and technical seminars taking place throughout the show week, right? All the courses are listed on the SEMA show website. Most of the classes are free. They're taught by experts. They're timely topics, including internet marketing, sales techniques, business management, how to use products, what are the new product showcases, all that stuff. So if interested, again, this is where the what do I call it? The map and app come in hand. Is there's all these educational seminars going on of companies putting on stuff that they want you to know about. So, which could lead to finding out about their event later that night. And sometimes I remember when I went in 2014, I was just cruising by the Maguires booth and had interviewed Jason and Michael when Jason was still at Maguires. And they're like, hey, come to this thing after the show. And I went to that thing. That was when they launched the MT300. MT300. And then, so we got a buffer, pads, the whole nine. Then they took us out to dinner, and it was awesome. It was like this whole big thing. I was like totally shell-shocked, just because I was at their booth and kind of, happened to be there. So it's awesome too. And you can find out through a lot of these educational seminars, the map and app, or just going and talking to the people at the booths. All right, so a couple bonus tips. Mentioned this in the beginning of this episode, but bring snacks and water. It's super expensive to buy food there, and it's like going to a sporting event, but with worse food. So the food is just as expensive. It's just not that good inside the convention center. Of course, you can leave and come back and all that, but the kind of crazy thing about Vegas is everything seems so close, yet everything is so freaking far away. So to get out of the convention center to go find like a normal place to eat, it can be a little tricky and just take a long time more than anything. So I would definitely suggest bringing some snacks and water like I talked about. I personally bring a backpack. Helps with like the camera stuff, the audio stuff, the mics, but also with water and snacks too, and they don't really check for that. Another bonus one that's huge that I biffed on big time the first year and definitely caught myself, bring an external charging device for your phone. Long days that transition into nights that last usually a long time, your phone's going to be dead, right? Plus, you're going to be taking these videos and pictures and all this of everywhere you're at. You're going to be posting. I remember the service sucked, so I was sucking up more battery because my service was bad the first year. So definitely bring an external charger so you're not that guy stuck in the corner trying to hug the outlet to charge your phone for a little bit to get back out there. You don't want downtime like that. So definitely bring an external charger to help with that. And the last thing is all the cars roll out on Friday night. If you still have enough energy to hang out late, you could watch, I forget what they call it, like SEMA Ignited, I think it was last year, but they may have changed the name. Here's a super bonus tip, and I'm going to end the episode with this, and I hope to see you guys at SEMA, because I think 30 minutes of me talking is quite enough. But this is the super bonus tip for you guys that have hung on long enough. And a little industry secret, I guess I would say. The SEMA show for people working the booth is extra taxing. By Friday, the reps working the booth are gassed. Not only have they put in 10 or 12-hour days working at the booth, they've also put in an additional 5, 6, 7 hours at night doing their thing. Maybe that's entertaining other people at dinner. Maybe that's gambling. Maybe that's going out drinking. Maybe that's hanging out with buddies that they only see once a year. Who knows? But by Friday, they're gassed. The last thing people want to do and reps want to do is pack up and ship back more product. So if you wait till the last day, you can usually score on either super cheap or free products and accessories, all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying this for anyone that I know. I have no idea. But I will say that if you hang out on Friday until after the show, until right around closing time for the show, you're going to go home with a ton of goodies. Tons and tons of goodies. And don't be shy. Don't be afraid to ask for them. They do not want to pack up more stuff than they have to, because they also have to pay to ship everything back. So the less they can ship back, the more they're going to save. So they're going to give a lot of that product away. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode with how to 10 tips. Actually, there was probably more like 15 tips in there, but that's okay. For a successful SEMA show. I hope to see you at the SEMA show this week. And if you are there, of course, hit me up in any fashion that is convenient for you. And without much else, I hope you guys enjoyed that show. I hope you take some of those tips to heart, whether you're going to the show or any other convention. And if you can't make it out to the SEMA show, plan for Mobile Tech Expo. That's coming up. Usually, I think it's in January in Florida. But they do have another one coming up in Vegas. I don't know the dates on that one. So, all right, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I will see you at SEMA, or I won't. But either way, I'll be there. See ya.